Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are checking out Matara Kan, who I'm pretty excited to check out. She's a new talent under VSHOJO, and I'm excited to see that she's been doing well. It's been interesting to tune into some of her streams and see this new community she's built up for herself. So let's just jump into this remix of DECO 27's Zombies with Rob Zombie's Dragula. So this is going to be a little interesting. I have not heard Zombies by DECO 27, but to my understanding, that's like a VSHOJO song that they made with DECO. I could be wrong about that. Feel free to correct me in the comments. But I have heard Rob Zombie's Dragula, so I'm interested to see how that's going to fit in here. Let's just hit play in 3, 2, 1, play. Okay. 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 Okay, so we're going really heavy on the bass in the mix here, and then we're also suppressing the vocals a bit, which I'm usually not a big fan of, but, you know, especially for bass segments, it's not uncommon to get some suppressed vocals to emphasize the tonality of the bass guitar. And before, we were getting quite a lively instrumental. I like the tonality of the bass. Oh. Okay, so we're getting some vocal track overlap there, which was interestingly implemented because I was expecting maybe some harmonization, but instead we almost got like a like they were talking over each other for a bit there. It's just a little offset. Okay. So I like how she's getting across the more of that rasp and that fierceness in her voice, especially for that segment there. But we're a little bit lax throughout this. You know, the vocals are a little flat, and I don't mean that in pitch. I mean that more so in just how they're projecting and how in tune they are. Well, not in tune, but how felt they are, how emotional they are, how invested they are in the progression of the tracks. I want a little more oomph in those vocals. I want to see them like project more and be more into the song. See, we're getting more here. Oh. Okay, I was not expecting that at all. I was definitely not expecting that. There was a lot of vocal tracks there. We're getting some interesting layering on those vocals. I will say Matara, I have to remember to call her Matara, has, you know, some... she's really suited to those lower vocals, especially when we get more fierce, and sometimes we can get more projection out of her, and that really shows off her voice. But I feel like, especially with those higher ranges and getting more tone, pitch control in those higher ranges, it's difficult. It's difficult for anybody, and it's still kind of difficult for Matara here. And you can see we're getting some post editing, you know, on those vocal tracks to get that in tune for everything, but it still comes across as a little unnatural. Okay. And we're getting a lot of bass and treble, you know, and the treble is solely on those harmonizing vocals, so those backup layers on the vocal tracks. But and the instrumentation is supplementing our bass tonalities. But the midtones feel I hesitate to say the midtones feel empty because we are getting that main vocal and we are getting those vocal tracks filling up the mix, but I'd say it just feels inactive. It feels a little empty. I like it if maybe we had a little more. I feel like instead of going for these like mix layering tricks and getting more layers in the vocals and doing these harmonizations, I think it would be better to kind of stick to a comfortable range for the vocals, and then we can supplement those treble tonalities with instrumentation. We don't have to shoot up for an harmonization vocal on those treble tonalities. We're able to do that with instrumentation while keeping the vocals in a comfortable range for pitch control. And then from there, you can emphasize your pitch control through, adding those inflections, getting more projection in your voice, things like that to emphasize your vocalist rather than trying to use it as an instrument, which is okay, but especially when you're a little rough on that pitch control, it can make it a little bit difficult to use the voice like this. Like, this sounds great when she's in this range here. She sounds great here. Okay. Nice. Nice. That's my favorite part right there. That was excellent. That was amazingly done right there. Nice. She had a good pitch control up high, and she didn't sit on those treble tonalities. We were able to supplement those treble tonalities with quick interjections on unsupporting vocal tracks while keeping a mid-tone, steady main vocal pacing through, and then we have that bassy instrumentation. So we're filling up the mix, but we're not sitting on those treble tonalities where we're obviously uncomfortable. We're embracing our range and then adding those interjections with good pitch control to supplement the entirety of the mix, covering the entirety of those treble, mid, bass tones. So that was beautiful. That was an incredible mix awareness, incredibly mixed, and just awesome vocals from there. Nice. Nice. That was excellent. Okay, we're coming back up high. I like how we're a little more controlled here. You know, we are hitting those notes a little more comfortably now. But I will say that the way this is mixed, the vocal tracks here, they sound like I believe they were suppressed very lightly. Like there's some light suppression on there. And then when they're mixed, it's also a little hollowed out. So we kind of cut out some of those full tones, you know, that are mid to bass tones out of our vocal tracks here. And that makes it feel very flat. And it's something you might notice if you, like if you suppress a vocal where you record your voice in like a big spacious room. It's sort of like that. It's like it cuts out any of the positives from that big spacious room, and then it just makes the projection feel kind of flat and empty. And so I feel like we're doing that with the vocals, and I in my opinion, or I suppose to my understanding, that's being done because the pitch is a tiny bit rough on those higher pitches. The pitch control is a tiny bit rough on those higher pitches. So we're suppressing that, and then to make it put more focus on our midtones and our bass tones. But when you do that, you have to also realize that the emergence of those treble tones is drawing attention. It's going to draw attention. So when you're also suppressing those and making them flat and feel like oddly mixed, it comes across as a tiny bit amateur. You know, it feels a little bit, it feels like it's badly mixed, even though the mix is obviously trying to help towards the betterment of the song. So if I was mixing this, I would say just embrace it, you know, or pitch it down, you know, have those treble tonalities supplemented through instrumentation, and then bring your layered vocals down to a comfortable range. Not to say that this is a bad job, but I think Matara definitely has the ability to do a much better job and a much more comfortable and emotional and enthusiastic vocal lines in a lower range right now. Obviously, you know, she's still working on her voice and how comfortable she is with her voice and working on her vocal abilities, but I'd say for this song here, it would definitely be more suited to her to bring it down a bit. Okay. See, we're right here. We're supplementing it with treble instrumentation. We can just use that. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. Nice. Oh, there's Rob Zombie. Okay. Okay. We completely cut out our bass tones there and just went for ambient synth with suppression vocals. Nice. And then kicked in with acoustic. Well, not acoustic, but electrical. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna say there were a lot of good parts of this song, but there were also a lot of parts where it's very noticeable that it just comes across as uncomfortable. You know, a little. It's a little toughly. It's a bit of a rough patchwork of a song we've got here. And I think part of that stems from maybe just a mismatch of songs that we're trying to remix together here. You know, Rob Zombie may not be the best fit for DECO 27's style of music. But that aside, I do have to say, in terms of just the vocal work, I think the like mid to bass tonalities, and I feel like you probably understand with how I've been speaking throughout the song. I think the mid to bass tonalities have been really amazing from Matara here. She's definitely improved quite a bit, and when she's getting more intensity into those lower vocals, she's able to really, you know, bring out some emotion there. But I think that there's still some like hesitation, or we're not really going all in, because even when we're getting those moments where she's adding intensity to her vocals, it still feels like she's kind of holding herself back. We're not getting a whole lot of projection, or even if we are getting that projection, it's not being mixed in a way that allows that to be heard. It's being mixed in a way that it feels like the same degree of projection as we're getting throughout the entire rest of the song. But we are getting some, you know, some of those higher pitched moments. We did get some awesome pitch control from Matara, but I think the way it was mixed, especially for those multiple layered high pitched vocals, it just wasn't aesthetic. You know, it didn't really fit the aesthetic, and even then, it was just a little bit off putting. But I'd say that part of that is to be expected with, you know, a matchup song between two vastly different artists. But I will say, you know, I think part of that is Matara and part of that is the mix work. But I don't want to be negative here, because it's not like this was a bad cover at all. You know, I actually really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this cover. I just think there's still work to be done, you know, getting a little more pitch control on those higher pitches. And also maybe on the mix work, tone down some of those higher pitches and bring out more of the supplementation and the instrumentation in the instrumental to bring out more of those higher pitches. So that way we're not trying to like force what we're obviously uncomfortable with, which obviously you want to do that in practice, but in presentation, you want to you want to show off what you're most comfortable with, which is obviously those mid-tones where we're adding in a little more emotion and getting a little more intense. And you know, you could tell that in the entirety of the song. We got some awesome moments, especially towards those like a deeper vocal tonalities where we could really see Matara showing off. And I felt like every time we got that, we'd then have to step away and be like, okay, now comes the high part. And then it would just kind of be this interjection where we're like, okay, the instrumentation is solid, but it's very odd in the mix. It feels uncomfortable, and that's okay. That's okay for like karaoke's and practices. But if you're releasing like a cover, you probably want to present more of your comfortable ranges, and then let that mix be supplemented through treble instrumentation. And that's just my 2 cents. You're free to disagree with that, and let me know if you think I'm being like too harsh or anything, because that's not my intention. But that's just my 2 cents about it. I think Matara did an amazing job here, as well as the music team. I think just a little more mix awareness would do a lot for this cover, and just in general, you know. So that's my 2 cents. Feel free to let me know what you think. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe you disagree on certain things that I said. Let me know in the comments, and recommend anything else you'd like me to check out in the comments as well. Aside from that, I will see you all later. Thank you so much for watching.